Alright, brace yourself, because this is going to be a wild ride. I just got back from an experience that was way beyond anything I could have imagined. It was one of those moments where you're just thinking, is this really happening? And am I even going to survive this? But I survived, and now I get to share it all with you. Buckle up, because this was one crazy adventure. It all started with Mad Honey. You've probably heard about it, maybe in passing, but trust me, until you see it firsthand, you won't even know how insane it really is. Mad honey is not your regular honey. Nope. It comes from the nectar of a specific flower, the rhododendron, which blooms in the Himalayan mountains, and more specifically, grows in the cliffsides. The nectar of these flowers contains something called granulotoxins, which are, potent toxins that mess with your nervous system. Now don't get me wrong, I knew the basic facts about mad honey going into this. People use it for a range of reasons, from medicinal uses to, believe it or not, as a natural hallucinogen. Some people even believe it can be a spiritual tool. But the truth is, you can't really understand what it's about until you've had a taste of it yourself. And to get it, you don't just walk into a shop or harvest it from a regular beehive. No. It's harvested from these crazy, dangerous cliffside hives that require a whole team of skilled honey hunters to get anywhere near. I'm talking about the kind of hives that are up on cliffs, hanging from almost impossible angles, where just the thought of climbing up there makes your stomach drop. These hives are guarded fiercely by these huge bees, which are absolutely ruthless. These bees are not the cute buzzing kind you see around your garden. They're aggressive, and if you disturb them, they won't hesitate to sting. And believe me, they sting hard. The honey hunters, the people who risk their lives to gather this rare and dangerous honey, they have to go up there, on rickety bamboo ladders, cutting pieces of the honeycomb while dodging swarming bees. All the while, they're exposed to these bees' venom and the danger of falling from heights that would absolutely kill them if they made even the slightest mistake. The whole thing is terrifying, honestly. You can't even imagine how crazy it looks from the ground. Watching these hunters swing from their ropes, expertly balancing as they cut the honeycomb and avoid the bees, it makes your palms sweat just thinking about it. And let me tell you, those bees, they do not play. They fight back. They're furious when you disturb their hive. So here you are, trying to climb this cliffside with a basket strapped to you, trying to avoid being stung, all while cutting out honeycombs that weigh several kilos. And the stakes? Oh, they're high. If you slip, you're done. One wrong move, and you're falling from 100 meters up. That's a death sentence. The honey hunters know this. They've been doing it for years, generations even. But that doesn't make it any less dangerous. Now, before we get into the whole honey eating experience, let's talk about the honey itself. Mad honey is wild. When you first taste it, it's got this bizarre bitterness, mixed with a little sweetness, but it's not the sweetness that you're used to. It's not comforting, like honey you might spread on toast. No, this stuff has a bite to it. It hits your tongue, and almost immediately, you start to feel the granulotoxins working. They don't waste any time. It starts with a tingling sensation in your mouth. Then it spreads. Your body starts reacting in weird ways. You feel hot, then cold. Your limbs get heavy, and it's like your mind just starts drifting. You're still aware, but it feels like you're losing control of everything around you. The sensation was unlike anything I've ever felt. The only way I can describe it is like a slow burn, almost like a spicy food that never fully goes away. And the worst part? The more you eat, the more intense it gets. I took my first small taste, thinking it'd be like just a little buzz. But no, it wasn't. After a couple minutes, it started getting intense, and that's when I realized I'd made a mistake. I had no idea how my body would react, but I knew something was off when I started feeling the burn in my mouth. It was like eating something fiery, but it didn't go away. It lingered, slowly creeping up your body. I remember thinking, okay, this is fine. I've had spicy food before. I'll just wait it out. But man, it was different. The more I waited, the more it started to affect me. I felt this growing sensation in my chest. My head felt heavier, and I started getting dizzy. And that's when things took a turn. Mew, my friend, who was with me, didn't have as much as I did. But man, he got hit hard. He started vomiting almost immediately, struggling to stay upright. It was clear that he wasn't going to make it through without some serious rest. I couldn't even imagine what he was going through, because even though I was still standing, I felt like I was losing control of everything. My fingertips went numb, and I couldn't feel heat in my hands. I tried to drink some water, but even that felt wrong. I could feel my body starting to shut down, the effects spreading through my limbs. It was like I was turning into a zombie, unable to move properly, trapped in my own body. My mind was still functioning, but physically, I was just stuck. Then, the craziest thing happened. I started feeling hot, like ridiculously hot. I stripped off my shirt, trying to cool down, but within a minute, I was freezing again. It was like my body was flipping between extremes, all because of this toxic honey running through my veins. I wrapped myself up in blankets because I couldn't stop shivering, and every minute felt like an hour. I thought I was going to pass out, and the whole time I kept thinking, what did I get myself into? But it wasn't just me. The local people who were with us were handling it a lot better. In fact, our host, a local woman, seemed to be thriving. She had a small dose of the same honey, but instead of being paralyzed by it like me, she was in this euphoric state, like she was on top of the world. And that's when I realized it's different for everyone. The honey affects people in totally different ways, depending on your tolerance, your metabolism, and who knows what else. Some people get super high, others fall into a deep, almost comatose state. As for me, well, I wasn't out of the woods just yet. I was still throwing up, my stomach in knots, my head pounding, and my body just felt like it was falling apart. The worst part is that there's no antidote to this. The body has to process the toxin on its own. Sometimes it takes a full 24 hours for your body to clear it out, and in that time, you're left to ride out the storm. I just kept hoping I wouldn't be one of the unlucky ones who couldn't handle it. The crazy part is, even though I felt like I was dying, I still wanted to push through. I wanted to see what this experience was all about. The honey, the cliffs, the dangerous bees. It was a mix of adventure and madness. But even with all that, there was a deep respect for the people who harvest this honey. It's part of their culture. They risk their lives for it, but they also believe in its power. For them, it's not just about the honey. It's about a way of life, a connection to the earth, to their ancestors. I felt like I was tapping into something ancient, something wild. Eventually, the effects started to wear off. I made it through the night, and by the next day, I was feeling better. Mew, on the other hand, was still recovering. His face was pale, and he couldn't even get out of bed. I felt for him, but I also felt a sense of relief. We had made it, and despite the madness of the experience, I'd learned so much about this fascinating part of the world. In the end, it wasn't just about surviving the mad honey. It was about understanding the people who harvest it and what it means to them. It was about stepping into their world, their traditions, and their way of life. And maybe, just maybe, it was about finding a bit of the wildness that exists in all of us, that thirst for adventure, and that need to push boundaries, even when the stakes are high. Now, as I look back on it, I don't know if I'd ever do it again, but it was definitely one of the most insane experiences of my life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.